Have you ever felt like the universe was speaking directly to you? You kept seeing numbers repeat, strangers saying just the right words, songs playing at the perfect moment, and then suddenly, silence. The signs vanished. The synchronicities that once made you feel guided, connected, even protected, disappeared overnight. And you began to wonder, did I lose my way? Did I miss something? Has the universe abandoned me? The truth is far more powerful than that. When synchronicity stops, it doesn't mean you're off track. It often means you are on the edge of something extraordinary. It's the quiet before a quantum shift, the pause that signals transformation. Most people don't realize that the disappearance of signs is itself a sign. And if you can understand what's really happening in that silence, you'll stop doubting and start stepping into your new reality. In this video, we're going to explore why synchronicities show up in the first place, and why they suddenly vanish. You'll learn how those patterns of meaning are tied to both your psychology and your spiritual growth. You'll discover why the universe sometimes withdraws the visible clues, not to confuse you, but to prepare you for a deeper alignment. By the end, you'll see that this mysterious pause is not an ending, it's a beginning. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, described synchronicity as meaningful coincidences with no clear cause, where the inner world and the outer world meet in surprising harmony. They happen when your mind is tuned to a certain frequency, and reality mirrors it back. But here's what most people don't know. When you're on the edge of a quantum shift, your inner frequency starts changing faster than your outer reality can reflect. That's why the synchronicities pause. It's not that they're gone, it's that you've moved beyond needing them. This silence is dramatic. It feels uncomfortable, but it's a clue that you're being asked to trust something greater than repeating numbers or strange coincidences. You're being asked to trust yourself. That's where the real shift begins. When you stop searching for signs, you start creating them. You begin living from the reality you want, instead of waiting for reality to confirm it first. And here's the suspenseful truth. Many people quit right at this stage. They assume the magic is gone. They sink back into doubt, and the shift never happens. But those who understand this moment know better. They lean into the quiet. They let go of chasing signs. They let themselves transform from the inside out. And when they emerge on the other side, the synchronicities don't just return, they explode in a new form, aligned with a higher version of who they've become. So stay with me until the end of this video, because if you've been feeling like the signs have stopped, it's not the universe turning away, it's the universe preparing you for something bigger. And once you see what that really means, you'll never look at synchronicity the same way again. Before we talk about the shift that happens when synchronicity disappears, let's pause and understand what synchronicity really means. People often describe it in many ways, but at its heart it is simple, a meaningful coincidence. Two events that seem unrelated show up in your life at the exact right moment. There's no logical cause behind them, yet they feel like a message, like life itself is whispering something only you can hear. Think about moments when you've been struggling with a decision, and suddenly a stranger says a phrase that answers your exact question, or you're doubting a path, and a song on the radio speaks directly to your heart. Maybe you see the same number over and over again, on clocks, receipts, and even license plates, and it feels like more than chance. These are not random accidents, they are synchronicities. They appear when your inner world and the outer world align in such a way that meaning is created in the space between them. Carl Jung, who first gave this idea a name, said synchronicity is different from cause and effect. Normally we say one thing happens because another thing caused it. But with synchronicity there is no clear cause. The link is not logical. The link is symbolic. It connects to your mind, your emotions, your soul. That's why it feels so personal. It doesn't matter if someone else sees the same coincidence. If it doesn't connect with their inner state, it won't feel meaningful. Synchronicity is unique to you, because it speaks the language of your life. Science often explains synchronicity as nothing more than pattern recognition, Our brains are wired to find order in chaos, to connect dots even when no connection exists. And yes, that's true to a degree. But even if it's just our brain noticing patterns, the effect is real. It shifts how we feel, it shapes the choices we make. A coincidence that feels meaningful can lift your spirit, give you courage, or point your attention towards something you had ignored. Whether mystical or psychological, synchronicity acts as a mirror. It shows you what's alive in your own consciousness at that moment. This is why people get so captivated by repeating numbers or chance encounters. Deep down they sense that these messages are not random. They resonate with their inner state, and even if the outer event is neutral, the timing makes it powerful. Timing is the secret ingredient that transforms coincidence into synchronicity. When it happens exactly when you need it, the impact is undeniable. Synchronicity then is a bridge. It links the visible and the invisible, the logical and the symbolic. It reminds you that you're not isolated in a meaningless universe, but connected to something greater. Sometimes it feels like guidance. Other times it feels like reassurance. Always it feels personal. And once you experience it, it's almost impossible to dismiss. Because when a coincidence carries meaning, it changes how you see not only the event itself, but also your entire journey. You feel quiet, empty, confused, maybe worried. That's the space many people enter when synchronicity suddenly disappears from their lives. One day the signs seem to be everywhere, numbers aligning, messages showing up, coincidences guiding you step by step. Then without warning, it all goes silent. It feels unsettling, as if something has been taken away. The very thing that once gave you a sense of direction now seems absent. In that silence, the mind begins to race. Doubt creeps in. You wonder if you've done something wrong. Did you lose your connection to the universe? Did you fall out of alignment? Or worse, was it all just imagination? These questions create a heavy pressure, because the signs felt so real before, and now the lack of them feels like abandonment. The emptiness is not just outside. It begins to echo inside your thoughts. This quiet space often feels like standing in the middle of a vast desert. You can't see the path forward, and you can't turn back. There's nothing obvious to hold on to. Without those meaningful coincidences lighting up the way, every step feels uncertain. It's natural to feel confused. After all, synchronicity often reassures us that we're on the right track. When it stops, it can seem like the ground beneath you has disappeared. But within this confusion lies something very important. The silence is not just absence, it's a signal. The reason it feels empty is because the noise, the distractions, even the comforting signs are being stripped away. What remains is you, facing your own thoughts, emotions, and intuition without outside confirmation. That can feel worrying at first, but it also opens a doorway to deeper awareness. The human mind craves feedback. We like to see proof, to have signs that validate what we already hope is true. Synchronicity provides that feedback in a mysterious way. When it disappears, we lose that external validation, and suddenly the inner world becomes louder. The confusion you feel is actually your mind adjusting to this new state, learning to operate without constant reassurance. It is the discomfort of growth. The worry comes because silence feels unnatural. We are so used to signals, distractions, and affirmations from the world around us that emptiness feels wrong. Yet this very worry can serve as a reminder. Something inside you is moving into new territory. It's not that you've lost connection, it's that the connection is shifting from outside signs to inner strength. This stage feels quiet because it is meant to. Without the flood of external coincidences, your own energy rises to the surface. At first it feels like nothing, but in reality it is a clearing. The silence is space being made for the next level of your journey. And while the emptiness feels uncomfortable, it carries the potential for something greater than what the signs alone could ever give you. It's not the universe forgetting you. It's your inner world getting ready to move. When synchronicity disappears, many people immediately assume they've fallen out of favor or lost the flow of life. But the truth is quite the opposite. The pause in signs is not a punishment. It's a preparation. It's the inner self reorganizing, adjusting, and shifting to a new frequency that hasn't yet fully expressed itself in the outer world. Imagine planting a seed. For a while nothing seems to happen above the soil. No leaves, no sprout, no visible proof of life. But beneath the surface the seed is breaking open, roots are pushing into the earth, and something powerful is beginning. Just because you can't see it, doesn't mean nothing is happening. The same is true for your inner world. The silence on the outside is often matched by transformation happening deep within you. When you start to grow, your energy begins to move in new directions. Old patterns loosen, new perspectives emerge. This shift creates a temporary gap where synchronicity seems to vanish, not because the universe has stopped guiding you, but because your inner compass is being recalibrated. It's like updating the operating system on your computer. During the update the screen may go blank, but the system is preparing to run at a higher level. This inner movement can feel subtle at first. You may not even notice the small changes in your thoughts, your emotions, or your desires. But the universe does. It withdraws the external signals, so you are not distracted by constant signs. Instead you are guided to listen more deeply to what is shifting inside you. The absence of synchronicity creates a sacred pause, a chance to anchor yourself in trust rather than in endless confirmation. In these moments, it's easy to misinterpret silence as disconnection. Yet silence is one of the most powerful forms of communication. Think of the stillness before dawn, or the deep breath before taking a leap. That stillness is not empty. It is charged with potential. Your inner world is preparing to step into alignment with a new version of yourself, and the universe is giving you space to stabilize that change. The reason it feels unsettling is because the mind loves patterns and certainty. It clings to the comfort of repeating numbers or chance encounters as proof of progress. But growth requires moving beyond comfort. When the signs fade, it's because you are being invited to trust the movement happening in unseen ways. You are being asked to believe in your own evolution, even when there is no external proof. This is how the universe works at deeper levels. It does not forget you. It trusts you. It knows you are strong enough to carry yourself without constant reminders. The pause in synchronicity is a vote of confidence. It is the universe stepping back, letting your inner world take the lead, and allowing you to expand into the next version of who you are becoming. Carl Jung said synchronicity is mind and world meeting in meaning, not cause. This is what makes it so different from the usual way we understand events. Normally when something happens, we look for a reason. If one thing happens, it must have caused the next. That's how we're taught to see the world, through the chain of cause and effect. But Jung noticed something that didn't fit into this pattern. He saw moments when two things lined up perfectly in a way that carried deep meaning, even though there was no logical connection between them. For Jung these were not accidents. They were meaningful coincidences. Imagine thinking about an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly they call you. There's no cause in the traditional sense. Your thought did not dial their phone. Yet the timing of it feels like more than chance. That's the essence of synchronicity. The mind full of thoughts and emotions, and the outer world full of events, seem to collide at a point where meaning is born. This perspective shifts the way we view reality. Instead of asking, what caused this, we begin to ask, what does this mean to me right now? The focus moves from logic to symbolism, and that symbolism is not random. It is connected to the state of your inner world. If you are carrying doubt, you may notice signs that mirror that uncertainty. If you are holding hope, the world may reflect that hope back to you through subtle coincidences. Jung believed the psyche and the universe were not separate,
but interwoven through patterns of meaning that show up when we are ready to notice them. Critics of the idea often call synchronicity nothing more than chance, pointing to probability and the brain's tendency to find patterns. But even if we accept that explanation, there's something undeniable about how these moments impact us. They stop us. They make us pay attention. They shift our perspective. In many cases they guide us to decisions we might not have considered otherwise. Whether mystical or psychological, synchronicity plays a role in awakening awareness. Jung also saw synchronicity as part of individuation, the process of becoming more whole, more aligned with the true self. He believed that when people are on the path of inner growth, synchronicities tend to appear more often. They act like markers along the way, letting you know that your inner and outer worlds are moving together. They don't prove anything in a scientific sense, but they affirm something in a personal sense. And that personal affirmation can be enough to keep you moving forward. Think of it this way, synchronicity is like the universe and the psyche speaking the same language for a brief moment. Not through cause but through meaning. It bypasses logic and goes straight to feeling. And in that instant reality feels alive, responsive and deeply connected to who you are and what you're becoming. Some say it's just patterns we notice, but we can still learn from them. The human brain is designed to find order, even in chaos. It's part of our survival. We see shapes in the clouds, faces in random objects, and connections where none seem to exist. Psychologists call this tendency apophenia or pattern recognition. From a scientific perspective, synchronicity can be explained as nothing more than the mind making meaning out of random events. Numbers repeat because the probability allows it. Songs play because radios shuffle through playlists. Encounters happen because people cross paths all the time. And yet even if that's all it is, the experience still matters. A coincidence becomes powerful, not because of what caused it, but because of how we respond to it. The meaning we assign changes how we feel, how we think, and even how we act. A simple number on a clock might remind someone to stay focused on their goal. A chance conversation with a stranger might give someone the courage to take a step they've been avoiding. The outer event may be ordinary, but the inner shift it creates is extraordinary. This is where the value of noticing patterns lies. The universe doesn't need to literally speak for us to grow from these experiences. The fact that we notice a pattern at all reveals something about our inner state. If you're drawn to certain signs, it's because those signs resonate with what's already alive within you. They point you back to your own mind, your own desires, and your own fears. In that way, synchronicity becomes a mirror. Even if it's just a pattern, it's a pattern that reflects your consciousness. Think about how ancient cultures read meaning into the stars, the movement of animals, or even the direction of the wind. From a modern perspective, we might say they were just noticing patterns in nature. But those patterns shaped how they lived, the choices they made, and the wisdom they passed down. In the same way, the patterns we notice today can serve as teachers. They push us to pause, reflect, and consider what is happening inside us. Learning from synchronicity doesn't require proving whether it is supernatural or simply psychological. The power lies in the effect it has on our awareness. If noticing a coincidence helps you slow down, see life differently, or trust your intuition more, then it has already served its purpose. Dismissing it as just a pattern misses the deeper truth. The meaning you create from the pattern can transform you. So even if skeptics argue that synchronicity is only in the mind is where your reality begins. And anything that shifts your mind has the potential to shift your life. Whether mystical sign or mental pattern, the lesson remains the same. What you notice reveals who you are, and what you do with that awareness determines where you go next. When signs pause, the focus shifts inward. You learn to trust your feelings more. Synchronicities act like guideposts on the road of life, showing up when you need reassurance or direction. But when they vanish, it's as if the road signs have been taken down, leaving you with nothing external to lean on. At first this feels unsettling. You look around for clues, hoping for the same patterns, the same repeating numbers, or the same meaningful coincidences that once made you feel connected. Instead you're left with silence. That silence is not emptiness, it's an invitation. The pause creates a new kind of space, one that directs you back to your inner compass. When you can no longer depend on outside confirmations, you begin to notice the subtle voice within. The feelings you've ignored for so long start to rise. Intuition becomes sharper. Emotions speak more clearly. It's not about waiting for another sign, it's about realizing that your inner world already holds the guidance you were seeking. Learning to trust these feelings is not always easy. We live in a world that trains us to look outward for validation, to measure progress by external results, and to wait for signals that tell us we're on the right path. But growth demands something different. It asks you to anchor yourself in your own truth, even when the outside world is silent. When synchronicity pauses, that silence pushes you to strengthen this trust. You begin to notice how your body reacts, how your heart responds, how your energy shifts in the presence of certain choices. This stage is a test of inner alignment. Without the comfort of signs, you must decide based on what feels right, not what appears right. That builds resilience. It deepens confidence, and most importantly, it shows you that you are not dependent on external signals to know your path. Instead, you start to live from a place of internal certainty. The pause in synchronicity becomes a training ground, shaping you into someone who can stand steady without constant reassurance. Many people resist this shift at first. They keep searching, keep asking for signs, keep wondering if they've been abandoned. But the longer the pause lasts, the clearer the lesson becomes. This is not abandonment. This is empowerment. It's the moment you realize that the very source of guidance you were chasing outside is alive within you. When you begin trusting your feelings, you no longer need every step confirmed. You move with quiet confidence, knowing that your inner world is already aligned with what you are becoming. The silence of paused signs is not a void, it is a mirror. It reflects back your own ability to lead yourself, to listen to intuition, and to act from inner strength. What once felt like absence turns into presence, not of the universe speaking to you from the outside, but of your own voice finally being heard on the inside. Quiet is sacred. It tells you something inside is reordering. In moments when synchronicity fades and the signs no longer crowd your path, the silence can feel unsettling. Yet beneath that stillness, there is movement. Not the kind of movement you see outside, but the kind that happens deep within, like the shifting of roots beneath the ground, or the slow settling of stones in a river. The outer world may appear calm, even empty, but the inner world is busy reorganizing itself. This sacred quiet is not an accident. It comes at times when your mind and spirit need space to integrate what has opened. When you are constantly flooded with signs and synchronicities, your attention is pulled outward. You are always looking, noticing, interpreting. But when the signs stop, the universe is inviting you to look inward. It is telling you to listen more carefully to the voice inside, because that voice is rearranging your beliefs, your patterns, and your sense of identity. Think about how a forest regrows after a fire. For a while everything looks lifeless and barren. But beneath the ash, seeds are sprouting, roots are strengthening, and a new order is forming. The quiet stage is necessary for renewal. In the same way, when your life feels silent, when signs vanish, your soul is preparing to step into a new version of itself. That inner reordering cannot happen in noise. It requires stillness, space, and the absence of distraction. Sacred quiet also brings clarity. When the outer world stops sending signals, the constant chatter of expectation begins to fade. At first this can feel like emptiness or loss, but with time it reveals a deeper clarity. You begin to see what actually matters to you. The noise of repeating numbers or perfectly timed coincidences no longer dominates your awareness. Instead, your own truth begins to take center stage. The quiet strips away the unnecessary and leaves you with what is essential. This process of reordering often feels subtle. You may not notice big changes at once, but slowly you begin to think differently. Old attachments loosen, new insights rise. Habits that once controlled you start to fall away, replaced by a deeper sense of alignment. It's as if the furniture of your inner world is being moved around, creating a new space for growth, clarity, and strength. The sacred nature of quiet lies in its power to shift you without force. It does not push or rush. It simply clears the space and allows your inner wisdom to rearrange itself. In that silence you are being prepared. You may not see the results immediately, but the reordering ensures that when the next signs do appear, you will be ready to receive them with a deeper awareness. Quiet is not a void, it is the ground of transformation, the hidden order beneath apparent stillness. No sign, that's your cue to listen deeply. Something new is growing. When the universe goes silent, it isn't abandoning you. It's asking you to turn your attention inward and listen in ways you usually don't. So often we look outside for confirmation, numbers, synchronicities, small coincidences that reassure us we're on the right path. But when those external signs pause, it's a signal that the growth is happening beneath the surface, in the unseen layers of your being. Think of it like a seed planted in the soil. At first there's no evidence that anything is happening. The surface looks bare, empty, unchanged. Yet below, roots are taking hold, stretching out, and forming the foundation that will one day support new life. The absence of visible growth is not proof of stagnation. It's proof that a deeper process is unfolding. In the same way, when signs disappear, your soul is rooting itself into a new foundation, preparing to bring something forward that can last. Listening deeply in this stage means tuning into feelings you usually overlook. What emotions surface when the silence lingers? Do you feel restless, doubtful, impatient? Or do you notice subtle shifts, like a pull toward new interests, a growing clarity in your desires, or an urge to release something that no longer fits? These are signs too, but they come from within rather than from without. The absence of outer confirmation makes space for your inner compass to take the lead. This period can feel uncomfortable because it challenges your reliance on external validation. When synchronicities stop, the mind may panic. Am I off track? Did I miss something? But that discomfort is part of the growth. It's teaching you to trust your own inner signals. It's showing you that your intuition doesn't need constant reassurance. It can stand on its own. The silence is strengthening your inner authority, reminding you that the most important guidance comes from within. Something new is always growing in the quiet. You may not see it, but you can feel it if you slow down enough to notice. Perhaps you're being drawn to release an old pattern, or maybe you're feeling the urge to rest and restore your energy before the next stage. Sometimes the growth is simply learning to be okay with not knowing, learning to rest in uncertainty without rushing for answers. This kind of inner expansion is subtle but powerful, laying the groundwork for breakthroughs to come. The beauty of this stage is that it shifts your relationship with signs themselves. When they return, and they always do, you'll recognize them not as lifelines but as confirmations of a truth you already felt inside. The silence will have taught you to listen to your inner growth first. No sign doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening in hidden places, preparing you for what's next. Something new is always growing, and your task is to listen deeply enough to notice. A quantum shift happens inside. You begin to be the new reality you're aiming for.
Raw.
It's not about waiting for the world outside to change. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that already lives in that When you embody it from within, the outer world can't help but align. If this message spoke to you, remember, your journey is unfolding in powerful way, even in silence. Trust the process, trust yourself, and know that every step is leading you closer to the life you're creating. If you found value in this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to our channel for more powerful insights that can guide you on your path.